Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go with this week's options watch list. Before I get into the watch list, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Also, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Not too much I'm going to look at this week. Got some things to talk about though. One is put to call ratio is at 0.76. It's really not as high as it was last week, a couple days ago, Thursday. And we had a little bit of a pop on Friday, so it brought down the put to call ratio down. But it's still fairly high. It can go higher. We'll have to see what happens. Futures opens tonight. What happens tomorrow? But put to call ratio is still fairly high, but not nearly as high. So that does change things a little bit. Now, as far as the economic calendar, tomorrow nothing. Tuesday, existing home sales at 10 a.m. Get some Fed speakers in the afternoon, 2:30 and 3:30. Wednesday we have flash manufacturing and services PMIs, consumer confidence. Oh, that's European. New home sales at 10. So yeah, at 9:45 and 10 a.m. we get a little bit of news. Thursday, unemployment claims in the morning at 8:30. Then you have Harker speaking at noontime. Then you have day one of Jackson Hole, which is a pretty big deal. Powell's not speaking on Thursday as of right now, but on Friday he is. We'll get to that in a second. Friday, 10 a.m. we get revised consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. So I'm sure we'll see some numbers change. Then we get Powell speaking at 10:05 a.m. on Friday, and it's day two of Jackson Hole. So we could see a move on that. So Friday could be a really good day. So we'll have to see what happens and take it from there. But as far as that, Thursday and Friday, second half of the week is going to be the busiest. First tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, not so much. We'll have to see what the market does. VIX made a shot to $18. It had a pullback right here. Put to call ratio was so high. Everybody was on the put side on Thursday and Friday, and I thought we were going to have a short squeeze on Thursday, but we didn't. We had it a little bit on Friday, and a little bit of a green day. Not a short squeeze. SPY, when it does a short squeeze, it's $8 to $10. It's a massive pop, and we didn't see really much of anything. So VIX, I mean, did pull back. I mean, we could see it pop to 20 very, very easily, but we'll have to see what the next couple of days is. It's right now, it's pretty much, I don't really see anything positive coming, but the market doesn't really need anything positive. It can just keep going and going and going and not really care about anything. But we'll have to see. But right now, it's trying to bounce. I just wanted to show VIX that it had got to 18. But yeah, we got to the 20 EMA on the weekly, which is the 430, 32 area, 433. You get a little bit of a bounce right there. Has some support at the 432. So plus the RSI was very, very oversold. I think it was close to 30 on the daily, and it was well below 25 on Friday. So we needed a green day. I thought it was going to be Thursday, like I said, but we needed a green day to cool off the RSI and bring down the put to call ratio, because they were both put to call ratio was too high and the RSI was way too low. Something was going to happen. It was just Thursday or Friday. Which day was it going to happen and how much? So didn't get much of a short squeeze. We only got like $4 push, $4 plus push. That's not really considered a short squeeze. That's just pretty much a dead cat bounce to let the RSI cool off. A short squeeze would have sent us like over 440, but we got a green candle. That could be just enough to cool off, put the call ratios and RSI for it to go lower. If it does, I would watch it underneath the 434 for push down to the 432, 430, gets 430, get 425. You got a gap right here at the 423, 420, 415, and 410. I would think at some point we'd come back down and retest this 410 level. I don't know if we will or not. We'll just take it day by day and play it. like that until something happens. Usually you'll have one, like you have a couple down days and you have a green candle to kind of cool off RSI, then it goes lower. So we could end up seeing this kind of a move like this. So we could have another green candle possibly Monday, then we could go lower. It all depends on what happens news wise and what the market feels like it wants to do. So we'll definitely keep an open mind to either direction. Now that the put to call ratio is down a little bit and the RSI has cooled off, so I would think one more green day on tomorrow would definitely make the RSI come up quite a bit for it to make more downside. We'll have to see. So downside under 434, upside over 438, 440, 445, 450, 455, 460. It gets over 460, we could end up seeing a really big push. I mean, in my opinion, if we get over 460, there's no reason why we don't even see 480. I mean, we're so close to all-time high. Why not just go a little further? But now weekly MACD is crossing over, which it did right here, but yeah, it popped. So I don't really put too much emphasis into the MACD. I do use the histogram as for divergences, but other than that, I don't pay too much attention to some of the indicators. So SPY, that's definitely what I'll be looking at. Apple is right at the RCT trend line on the weekly. I mean, it's definitely in a good spot. I did fill the gap right here. It's down to the 171 areas where it started to bounce, and it has a nice green day. It will be pretty much subject to what SPY is going to do. If SPY ends up short squeezing or something, I will watch it over Friday's high over 175 for a push to 180. We're going to have a lot of resistance in this 177, 179 area. It's a 180 gap resistance right here at the 187. Get a gap fill at 190. So I don't think we will fill the gap at 190, but who knows? But definitely think it could retest gap resistance right here at 187 if we do end up having a run. But if not, if we do have that one green day and more downside, I would watch Apple underneath 172 for push to 170, 165. Get a gap fill right down here at 167, 168. So definitely could fill that gap. Keep an eye on Apple. But testing the RCT trend line does end up bouncing a little bit, but we also got this trend line right here that it's made. So we could definitely come down to 163, which would be right down here. Line up and fill the gap. So that would play out in that scenario if it did fill the gap and test that trend line. So that scenario could play out. Microsoft's no, it wasn't Microsoft's head and shoulders. I think it was Netflix. But anyways, did fill the gap right here. Microsoft, same, like I said, same thing. It's going to be very dependent on SPY. That's why I don't like trading all these other tickers, because I mean, if you're trading Microsoft, you're trading Apple, you're trading Meta, 9 out of 10 times it's going to follow the market. I mean, SPX is going to pay better. But I do these for you guys. Once in a while I will take it, but I don't. I'm really kind of more focused on SPY, because I mean, I know in the past I used to jump around, but I've kind of just got bored of that, and it doesn't pay nearly as much. And to me, you need a really big move on something like Apple just to make 20, 30, 50 cents. And to me, it's just, you can have a SPX, you can just have a small little tiny move and it'll jump $1. And to me, I just think that's better ROI. Something a brain fart, yeah. So anyways, I would watch for possibly more downside on Microsoft. It does manage to break Friday's lower day of 312. Get a push down here to gap support rate. Well, 300 is going to be a big level right here. But then you get gap support right here at 293. I don't imagine it's going to break that and fill the gap, but also keep an eye on it over Friday's high of 318 for push to 320, 325, 330, 335, 340, which is this big line right here. So we'll have to see what happens. It's really, like I said, I'm going to keep reiterating it, is that it's going to be very dependent on what SPY does. Now Netflix has its head and shoulders. It did play out. It didn't really do much. It's really trying to hold this 400 level. 400's right where the middle Keltner channel is, which is a 20 EMA on the weekly. So it did hold that. It had a green day, but if SPY dumps, I would watch it underneath 400. Push down to 390. A little bit of a gap fill right here. It's very, very tiny at 385, 380, 370, 360. Got a gap fill right down here at 342, 340. I don't know if it'll get down that low. It's pretty extreme. That'd be a $60 move. I don't think will get that far. But never say never. I mean, anything can really, really happen. Tesla just, it had its little bounce. Wait a minute. Wrong chart. I was gonna say that didn't look right. There we go. Tesla did have a small little bounce right here on Friday, but I'm looking at it over 217 for a short squeeze push. I mean, look at the RSI. It's way below 30. Below 30 on the daily. It doesn't like to stay below it. I mean, we could see this kind of a setup right here where it could consolidate, drop down a little bit, take out stops, then push more. So I think that we could end up seeing a bounce right here on Tesla. So I'd be watching Tesla over 217 for push to 220, 225, 230, 235, 240. Got lots of gaps to fill. 245, 250. I mean, it's got quite a bit of room. The RCT trend line's way up here at 262. It's below it on the weekly. It's right into that weekly support right here. So definitely think we see a bounce on Tesla. So I will definitely keep an eye on Tesla for that to happen. Could end up seeing a pretty good move. Amazon almost filled the gap, but not quite. So I'm kind of looking to see if they will actually fill the gap. If SPY does manage to have another green day, or does manage to make a red day tomorrow, that I would watch Amazon underneath 131, even 132, to push down here to 130, 128 to fill this gap. It's got a couple dollars to fill, so definitely look at Amazon to possibly fill that gap on that. It's the only thing I'd be really interested in. That BA is right down here at gap support. If the market does dump, does end up dropping more, it might be a good play to play this gap fill right here underneath to 222 to fill the gap down here to 215. So definitely keep an eye on that. It's got some room to drop on BA for a gap fill. So now that it went down and tested gap support and it bounced, I think that it's definitely in the cards to fill that gap on BA. So a couple things to watch for this week. And like I said, the big day is going to be Thursday and Friday with Jackson Hole. So we'll have to see what happens with that. We'll just take it one day at a time. That's why I need to be in the room, because things can easily change based off from news, the way the pre-market and overnight looks and stuff like that. So you need to be in the room. Otherwise, you're just going to miss the play. So that's going to do it. Thanks for watching.